What is something you can no longer enjoy due to a bad experience?
Hot dogs. 15-hour flight. 3 days of food poisoning. I cannot eat hot dogs or plain food under any circumstance. Orange Gatorade. That's my go-to flu or food poisoning drink. It ruins it for me outside of that. There are some beautiful hiking spots in the Pacific Northwest, but I was a wilderness search and rescue canine handler for 12 years, and a few of these beautiful places were the locations of suicides. I just can't see those spots as places of joy anymore.
Apple juice. Spent too much time in hospitals growing up and every meal was served with apple juice.
Fake cherry smell. I can do cherry candies, but the air freshener type cherry scent triggers the worst visceral reaction. I start sweating, heart races, and I immediately start prepping to throw up. When I was 5 I had to have a tonsillectomy. It was in the early 90s and they knocked you out with gas. Because I was a kid, they let me pick the flavor of kids' masks. The nurse who prepped me for surgery probably thought I wouldn't remember, but she smashed the mask over my nose and mouth and held me down while I struggled until the gas knocked me out. There have only been a few times where I've smelled that again and I react the same way every time.
I used to love chicken tikka. My ex-coworker went through a period of not washing for several days at a time and the smell was really close to chicken tikka. The smell of chicken tikka now makes me feel sick.
Eating bananas. Me and my friend were at lunch and as he bit into his banana it crunched. He looked at it and the center of the banana was infected with a red crunchy fungus. This ruined bananas for me.
Jumping on trampolines, just because I tore my ACL 3 times. Any pre-prepared food with any kind of shellfish. When I was 8 I had a bowl of cream of crab soup that didn't have a piece of shell removed. Had rectal bleeding and minor surgery for a small hole. Never gonna trust it again. Jägermeister. Had a really bad experience once. If I even just smell black licorice my mouth will start to salivate like I'm going to vomit exorcist style everywhere. Taco soup. This lady made it for us but found out later she has horrible cooking habits like cross-contaminating cooked chicken and shredding it on the same board you had it raw, or using long-expired taco seasoning and who knows what else. I got food poisoning and puked it all up. The horrible smell I can just think about and get nauseated. Thankfully I can still eat regular tacos, but taco seasoning outside of actual tacos I cannot do.
Watch any Godzilla movie. When I was 8 years young my mother rented the movie Godzilla that I was waiting for months to see. She played the movie and leave the room, she went out to buy groceries. Turns out it wasn't Godzilla, it was hardcore porno movie that the renter misplaced and I watched the first half confused because I thought at some point I was going to see Godzilla. Then my mother came back from the store and realized what happened, she went back to the movie store to storm it I believe.
Domino's pizza. I got a mouthful of clumped hair when I bit into a slice. I hate hair in my food. It's one of my gross out factors that will kill my appetite. With that pizza, I brushed it off the best I could because I was starving and grabbed another slice. Mouthful of hair again. I had to pick long strands of hair out of my teeth. No more Domino's. It was probably an isolated incident, but now my brain equates Domino's with hairy pizza and I can't order from them anymore.
Going out and having a drink alone. Got drugged, almost died. Now I only drink if I'm at home. Roller coasters with loops but specially untamed at Kenobi Lake Park. Went on it 3 years ago and leaned forward on the loop. The momentum caused me to hit my head on the shoulder harness and black out for a few seconds. The concussion after that was brutal. Car sex is ruined for me. One time had a cop pull up next to the car. Can't come back from that one. When I was 15 I decided one night when I was bored and alone to eat at the French restaurant near my house. This was the first time I'd been to a proper restaurant without my parents, so I was sort of excited. Everything was going well until the waiter asked if I would like a bread roll with my entree. Being new to this sort of thing and not exactly flush with cash I asked, "Is it free?" Quote, "Well, it was like I called his grandma a whore because he got really angry and launched into a big speech, swinging his arms everywhere, about how nothing is free in life blah blah blah. I finished my meal there, but I've never eaten at a French restaurant since. If invited out to one, I make excuses." Eggo waffles. Ate 'em every morning before late elementary and middle school. I was never a morning person, so shoving frozen waffles covered in butter and maple syrup at 6 a.m. while horribly underslept was never enjoyable. And now I can't eat them because I flash back to the general feeling of dread from every morning. I can still feel the knots in my stomach. Playing the violin. I was in 6th grade and just started to learn the violin. My family didn't make much, but my mum saved some money to rent a violin for me. I go to the class and the teacher was under the impression that I knew the basics, which I didn't. I did take a class before this one, but I didn't learn much from it. Probably 'cause I was a crazy kid. So I tried to tell the teacher that I have no idea where the notes on the violin are, but he just didn't get it. Then we get a quiz where we have to play the scale, and one by one each student plays it and he remarks after each one, "Good job, A+. Now it's my turn. I tried my best but I couldn't do it." My teacher said, "Well, that was not good," and continued on. Needless to say, I joined choir the next day. Apple cider. Drank too much once and threw up. Whenever I drank apple cider after that point, it makes me feel nauseous, as I can never forget that taste. Grim stuff.